When we founded Nurture NJ in 2019, we knew that New Jersey's maternal health crisis could only be solved by the determined participation of every sector, agency, and field, both public and private, that touches a mother's and baby's life. So I am incredibly proud and grateful to the many, many organizations who are hosting their own Maternal Health Awareness Day events all across the state this month. In the time since, through Nurture NJ's Maternal and Infant Health Strategic Plan, we have put New Jersey on a path to becoming the safest and most equitable state in the nation to deliver and raise a baby. I will have more on that later, and do please stay with us until after our panel for some exciting updates on our progress. But in truth, the greatest and most powerful force behind our work has been New Jersey's mothers themselves, so many of whom have bravely spoken out about their own experiences navigating pregnancy, labor, delivery, and the postpartum period. So this year, as we mark New Jersey's 4th official Maternal Health Awareness Day, we knew that amplifying the voices of mothers and listening closely to them was the most important thing we could do to further our efforts. With that, it is my great honor to introduce our panelists. We have Vlan Foster, we have Laynel Dominugez, we have Charnèa, Ahjanae Thompson, and Elnisa Nixon. Vlan Foster is the founder of Life After Two Losses and has been an incredible Nurture NJ partner over the past few years. Laynel Dominugez comes to us from Centering Pregnancy at University Hospital in Newark. We also have 2 moms who had received support from our incredible community doula programs. Chernaya Briggs from Community Doulas of South Jersey, and Ahjanae Thompson from True Doulas of New Jersey. And finally, also with us is Elnisa Nixon, who participated in the Nurse Family Partnership and is the Women's Healthcare Coordinator at the Southern Jersey Family Medical Center. Welcome to each and every one of you moms. And the first thing I would like to do is to give each of you an opportunity to share a little more about yourselves, your babies, your organizations, if you have one, and the programs in which you have participated. Vlan, can we begin with you?
Of course you can. I'm so sorry for the music. It's keeping my son distracted. So my name is Vlan Foster. I've suffered 2 preventable pregnancy losses. And I found 2 losses after that. And our mission is to support, empower, and empower women and families to prevent them from suffering similar pregnancy losses. And last year, I had my rainbow baby, King Cairo.
Vlan, hold on 1 second. Can everybody please make sure you're muted if you're not speaking, so it's not interfering with the others? Thank you.
Do you want me to start again?
I think maybe you might want to.
Okay.
Okay, thanks so much.
So hi, everyone. My name is Vlan Foster. After suffering 2 preventable pregnancy losses, I founded Life After Two Losses. And our mission is to support, empower women and families to prevent them from suffering similar losses. And last year, I welcomed my rainbow baby, King Cairo. So say hi. And a fun fact about King Cairo is he was born on nice to
Okay, thank you so much, Luanne. And now I'd like to ask perhaps if Laynel might speak up for us. Laynel, can you hear me? Okay.
Hi, I can hear you.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Laynel. My baby has 7 months ago. This is my first baby. I want to learn about the maternity health, and for that I am here. I want to learn.
Excellent.
Are you listening?
Nope, we got you. Thank you so much. Okay, so next I think we're going to ask Charnèa. Charnèa?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chernaya Briggs. I'm originally from Sewell, but now reside in Sicklerville. I'm a Navy veteran, and currently I'm a stay-at-home mom with 12-month-old Micah. And a fun fact about him is he loves dancing to every Cocomelon song, even though it drives mommy crazy. And he thinks every woman has breast milk, apparently. Um, I used a doula from the community doulas of South Jersey during my pregnancy. Unfortunately, Micah came a little fast and I did not make it to the hospital, but my doula was able to coach my partner and myself over the phone, and then later met us at virtual of where he's hospital, to advocate and make sure that I was getting skin to skin and, make sure that I was comfortable. So had a wonderful experience with it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Okay, Ahjanae, are you able to?
Hello,
Thank you.
I'm Ahjanae. I'm 29. I work overnight. I have a 2-year-old, an 8-year-old, and I'm actually carrying a baby now. I had a great experience with my doula with my 2-year-old. We did have skin to skin. I had to be induced, and she helped me out. She made sure I was getting the medical attention that I wanted and also needed. She was very helpful. It was a great experience with her. I was in labor for 24 hours, so she made it as comfortable as she could. And that's who's making the noise right now.
Thank you so much. All right, Al-Nisa, you're last but not least.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Elnisa Nixon. I am originally from Newark, New Jersey. I now also reside in Sicklerville, New Jersey. I have a master's of public health. I'm currently working on my doctorate of public health. I was blessed with the opportunity to be supported and educated by Nurse Family Partnership with the birth of my pregnancy and birth of my daughter, Abigail, back in 2016. I recently just welcomed a second daughter, Amelia, in 2021. And even though I officially graduated from the Nurse Family Partnership, my nurse, Tisha Bright, that helped me with my first daughter was on standby with my second daughter. So that was amazing. I am also blessed to be able to work at Southern Jersey Family Medical Centers as a women's healthcare coordinator to help, focus on maternal and infant child health outcomes for the community here in Southern New Jersey, Central New Jersey area.
Wonderful. Thank you all for being here and for the very important work you are doing to promote maternal health. Let's transition a little bit to your personal stories, which I am sure are incredibly motivating for the work that you do. Could each of you share, please, your pregnancy story from the moment you learned you were pregnant to how you put together your birth plan, your childbirth experience, and even the postpartum period? Laynel, would you like to go first?
I don't understand the question.
Okay. Just wondering if you can share with us about your pregnancy, like anything that you might want to share with everyone who's here.
The pregnancy for me is the very special moment in my life. This is my first baby. I say ago. And for example, she is in this moment eating, and this moment is very special for me.
Bless you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So Charnèa, you want to go next?
Sure. So I realized I was pregnant in June of 2020. Obviously, we were a few months into the pandemic. And I knew it was going to be a different pregnancy. Of course, everything with this pregnancy was high risk. Apparently, due to my age, I was 37 at the time, I was considered geriatric. So that automatically made me high risk. And I also had developed high blood pressure and gestational diabetes with this pregnancy. So I had regular OB visits along with visits to maternal fetal medicine at Virtua. So I had like double the appointments. I kind of felt like my pregnancy was my job at that point because I had so many appointments. And I also knew that since my last child that was born in 2004, that things had changed a lot. I was in the Navy at the time. We didn't have as many parental, like all the parental leave and stuff that they give you now. So I knew I had more options and wanted more of a say in how I brought the baby into this world. Because back then I was younger and the doctor kind of just, told you what position to get into, what they were going to do. And it was kind of like, I don't know, I didn't feel as in control of my pregnancy. So I knew that this time around, I wanted someone to help advocate for myself and my partner, my baby. So I knew that I needed to find a doula. Initially, I researched the costs and it seemed expensive. But then I looked into some community resources and found out that I qualified for WIC. And I was given information that Camden County had a grant for community doulas. And that is how I got introduced to the community doulas of South Jersey. And my doula, she was also working with WIC doing childbirth classes and infant feeding counseling. And she did a home visit and kind of answered all of our questions and was very accommodating and kind of gave us her information, so that we could email or text if, there was any questions. And we kind of made the birth plan that I didn't want any medication for pain and that I wanted to do, a natural vaginal delivery, obviously as long as everything was safe to do that. And so I ended up going into labor about 4 weeks early with Micah. And she was great over the phone because my partner was obviously very nervous. This is his first child. And she kind of told him how to count the contractions, how to make me comfortable, told me comfortable like positions to get in, deep breathing, just so that I didn't panic. And I honestly don't think I could have gotten through a home birth because that's not what I planned for if I hadn't had that support. And then after the ambulance brought us to the hospital, she came to make sure that I was comfortable, to make sure that they allowed me to do the skin to skin and let the baby latch because I nursed, still am nursing, but made sure that he got to latch, within that first hour, because that's really important. And then she assisted me later on when I had to return to school. I took a summer class at Rowan College, South Jersey. They've changed their name so many times, but I took a summer course there and I needed to kind of figure out a pumping schedule. And I also needed to make sure that they could accommodate me a private space to pump and a place to put my milk. So she was very instrumental with giving me all the rights, that they need to give me at work or school or wherever. And so that went successfully. I was able to leave my baby with my mom and I was able to pump when I needed to and take breaks for class. So I would say that the pregnancy, the delivery, and postpartum, I had the support of my doula 100%. And they impressed me so much that I am now enrolled to take a doula class starting on the 29th. I think every woman should have access to that, no matter what socioeconomic status that she has. Every woman should have that support of having a doula and other, maternal health services. So that's my story.
Thank you. Okay, Ahjanae, you want to go next?
Okay. Sorry if you hear talking in the background. It's my son. I'm sorry. He's like jittery today. So I had my first experience with my oldest. I had him in 2013, and it was a different experience, to say the least. I did not know the advantages of a doula, and I had a doctor. My son was born at 4 pounds, 13 ounces. He came a little early. I had a doctor perform a surgery on me that I was supposed to be put asleep right after I had him. They did this surgery like right on the table right there. I didn't get to interact with my son. I didn't get skin to skin. I didn't do any of those things. So there was always something I felt like I missed when I first had him. And then this time around with my 2-year-old, I knew I wanted the doula. I knew I wanted someone to make sure that just like Chernaya said, I had more control of my birth. I just wanted to make sure that I had more bonding with my future children to come. And my doula, Miriam, she was excellent. Like, she made sure I stuck to my birth plan. She helped me out with certain things that I didn't even know I was like able to ask for. Even with the pain, the contractions, we tried our hardest to stay away from like the tougher medication up until I really couldn't anymore. They wanted me to take an epidural so that I get some rest because I was in labor for so long. But like, she helped me walk around. She helped me with exercise techniques and everything else. She made this experience so beautiful for me. And just to be able to sit there and get skin to skin with my 2-year-old, I feel like that was what I missed out on with my first baby. So I knew, like, when I found out I was pregnant this time, I was like, okay, I'm going back to her again. I want her again. So I really appreciate her.
That is a great story. A great shout out for your doula. So great job. Al-Nisa, do you mind speaking next?
Oh, no. So when I found out I was pregnant, I was 20 going on 21. I was in my senior year at Rutgers University, and I was scared. I was newly married. It was just a really frightening experience. I was really grateful that, not sure at which point it happened, but someone in the ER sorry, I'm at work, someone in the ER or someone at the clinic that I was following up with referred me to Nurse Family Partnership. And then I got a phone call and this nice nurse wanted to meet me at my local McDonald's and just like, talk about the pregnancy and everything that I wanted out of it. And Nurse Family Partnership really became something more than just something I had to do every couple of weeks. She's my family. She's everything to me. I was actually really happy to be able to do my master's of public health and complete my internship with Ascenda and work closely with Nurse Family Partnership all over again, just to focus again on maternal health outcomes. My pregnancy, my delivery, they went as planned. And I say that and really thank my nurse, Tisha Bright, for that, because she walked me through everything. 21 years old, first baby, in the city of Newark, not necessarily lacking support, but lacking knowledge and education around what it means to have a baby as a woman of color in an inner city, in a time where, maternity, maternal mortality rates are increasing every day. She walked me through everything. I went to the labor and delivery feeling empowered, feeling knowledgeable, feeling supported, knowing how to advocate for myself. It was just an overall great experience. And even in a postpartum period, I struggled with a little bit of postpartum depression, and she picked up on it and she was there to support me. I wanted to stop school and she was there to encourage me. Thanks to her, I actually just started the doctorate program for public health last year, and she still checks in on me and on the new baby as well. Even with this baby from 2021, I had a lot of decisions I had to make, a lot of issues that came up, and Nurse Family Partnership in general was very, useful in providing all of the basics, like here's what's happening and this is your options, and from these options produce these results, and it's up to you what you want to do, but we're here to hold your hand every step of the way. And I think that little aspect of having that support in your back pocket really made the difference for all of my maternity outcomes and my postpartum outcomes as well. And I'm truly grateful for that. And as someone now that works in women's health and I'm able to, direct patients for different resources, I really, try to push for, home nurse visiting programs and doulas, postpartum doulas as well, lactation consultants, everything, because it all works together. It's all one big continuing circle that we all have to pitch in for. And I'm grateful for a position and an opportunity in which I'm able to not only share my personal story, but promote programs and organizations that really make a difference.
Well said. Thank you, Elnisa. Luanne, I'm feeling that King Cairo wants to speak, but maybe you can speak in his stead right now.
Of course. So my apologies. It's been past nap time, so he's a little overly tired. So pregnancy in 2017, everything was good until it wasn't good anymore. My water broke one day and I went in to the hospital and I basically was told that there was nothing that they can do. Once the water breaks, either I could, abort or the pregnancy may possibly go septic, which ended up happening. And I ended up delivering my daughter at close to 20 weeks, who ended up passing away during birth. So I was told at the end of my pregnancy that I had something called incompetent cervix. And I met with maternal fetal medicine to do a consultation for future pregnancies. And the option they offered me was I could get a transvaginal cerclage either at 12 weeks, or I could wait until they started noticing my cervix was changing. So I got pregnant about 9 months later in 2018, and we had decided, they seemed very if anything happened that I could just get the emergency cerclage. So at about 18 weeks, we noticed that my cervix was starting to shorten. So we did emergency cerclage, and similar to what had happened before, I knew my water had started to break. So I went into labor and delivery and I had explained to them, what happened. And they were very dismissive. Oh, there's nothing wrong with you. You're fine. They checked me out. And then they kind of sent me on my way. As soon as I got into the parking lot, the rest of my water broke and I had to be wheeled in by a technician. And as soon as I, went in, I was visibly angry and upset because I felt like I had not been listened to. And had I been listened to, maybe I could have just been put on bed rest. And one of the nurses said to me, well, if your water was going to break inside or outside, it was going to break anyway, which I felt was very heartless, no compassion whatsoever. I luckily this time, because I was past 20 weeks, I was able to stay in the hospital because I wanted to continue on with my pregnancy. At about 23 weeks, my daughter began to come. There was nothing they could do. She lived for over an hour and a half, and then she passed away. So after that, I kind of was more equipped, and I did my research, and I wanted to be proactive for my future pregnancies because I didn't want to go through this again. So I went to my OBGYN and maternal fetal medicine, who agreed that they would do an abdominal cerclage, which I wish I would have knew all the information, because had I would have known, I never would have went with the transvaginal cerclage, because that's only an 85% chance that you would get to 24 weeks. Whereas the abdominal cerclage that I have, and that's why King is here, that's a 95 to 99% chance that you will get to full term. If I had been given that information, my second loss would have totally been prevented. So I went to my doctor. He was insisting that, you should get the transvaginal cerclage, but this time let's do it at 12 weeks. And I was adamant that I was not doing that. I said I had already had 2 losses. Why would we try something again that we know statistically the odds would be against us? So I advocated for myself, and they agreed that we would do the abdominal cerclage prior to pregnancy. And 3 months after I gave birth to my daughter, I had to wait until, my uterus and cervix went back to normal, and I had the abdominal cerclage. And after that, in 2020, I got pregnant with King. And I, again, advocated for myself with the research on what I wanted. I wanted progesterone to help keep my cervix long. I wanted biweekly monitoring to just make sure that my cervix was not shortening, even though maternal fetal medicine was adamant had treated my condition, which for me, that's great, but I needed some reassurance that things were going well. So again, because I advocated for myself, they allowed me to have those weekly checks. In the pregnancy with him, I ended up developing gestational diabetes. Prior to getting to 18 weeks, I had been walking and, being able to monitor my food and whatnot. But at 18 weeks, I started having really bad pain. And it was, I guess, due to the pregnancy becoming heavy. And that was around the time I had lost it before. So they had told me to stop all exercise, just kind of stay off my feet. And so I managed my gestational diabetes. Everything else with the pregnancy went on pretty well. I had my scheduled C-section at 40 weeks. And after delivering, by the way, King was 10 pounds, 9 ounces, very big boy. And I kept telling everyone, I was like, this is going to be a big baby because my stomach was huge. And he was. So I delivered him. My blood pressure started to go up. I also noticed that my legs and my limbs were like double the size. And upon being discharged, I was explaining to the staff, I was like, you guys are discharging me, but something is not right with me. I was having excruciating headaches. I was having like a ringing in my ear. My blood pressure kept going up and down. And they ended up discharging me saying that this was normal, that was fine. 2 days after I left the hospital, I went to my provider again and I said, listen, something is not right with me. I just don't feel right. And she said, you know what, see us in the week, let me know on the halfway mark how you're feeling, but I think you're fine. By Saturday, I was bad. Like, I just felt awful. I just wasn't sure what was going on. By Sunday, I was to the point that I was so bad. I had said to my mom, like, we need to go to the hospital now. Like, I literally felt like I was dying. By the time we got to the hospital, the staff had listened to me and I was so bad. I had to be transferred by a medical team to a hospital that could better assist my medical needs. My blood pressures was at hypercrisis emergency, basically. I had protein in my urine. I had about 33 pounds of fluid that was impacting my heart function, backing up into my lungs, and I literally almost died. And even just saying that kind of brings tears to my eyes, because had I not continued to advocate for myself, my son wouldn't have had a mother. They just was not listening. And through that whole experience, I had to end up being admitted 4 different times because it just kept going bad. So had they would have listened, a lot of this could have been prevented. And one of the last times I was admitted to the hospital, I asked to speak to the director in charge of that floor, and he kind of acknowledged what I was feeling. He said, as a Black woman, he would be terrified to come into a medical facility because at times we're not listened to, and we have to keep advocating for ourselves. So I'm so thankful for you, First Lady, for having this platform for us to share our stories, because if someone else can hear my story and know that this is their same symptoms as well, maybe what happened to me doesn't have to happen to them with my losses, with preeclampsia. So just thank you.
And God bless you, Luanne. I know I'm speaking for everyone. That is a deeply personal and powerful story. I cannot thank you enough, as well as everyone, for sharing it, which I know is not easy, but it's important, and I'm grateful to all of you. With that, I know there's going to be a connection between these stories and my next question, which is, what makes you personally passionate about improving maternal and infant health in New Jersey? Charnèa, do you mind starting us out?
Yeah, that's fine. What makes me so passionate is stories like Luanne's, stories like mine, having a baby at home. I have also had issues with my cervix shortening as well, and just found out so much information kind of like after the fact, which if I had known and they had not been dismissive, I probably could have, had my baby full term. I mean, luckily, thankfully, he was okay. But sometimes I feel like women, and sometimes even African-American women, our voices are not always heard or listened to in the medical community. And I just want women, all over New Jersey, all over the world, really, just to, I just want them to listen. And I think that the medical teams, they need to include us in the process, because I would say that even though someone that is a well-respected doctor or medical professional in the community, we still know our bodies, and who better to listen to, if we're telling you symptoms that we're having than your patient, and I think sometimes they forget that. And like I said, I want the outcomes for, healthy births to be, I want that to be a higher statistic than it is for, deaths of the children and losses and the mothers. And so that is why I'm passionate, because I also had to advocate for myself, and keep advocating, because initially people were not listening to me. So that makes me very passionate. No mother wants to lose a child and vice versa. Every child deserves to have their mother. So that's why I'm passionate.
Thank you for that. Okay, Ahjanae, do you mind speaking next?
No, just like they were previously saying, had I known with the first pregnancy that I was able to be in control more, the surgery that he did on me, I was in a lot of pain. They didn't give me anything for it. It was just like open surgery. He was like, I believe he said he was pushing my uterus back up inside. It came out. And I was supposed to be put to sleep for that. And like I said, I was just right on the table. And I have sickle cell. So it was a lot. I was getting blood transfusions. The pain was worse than giving birth. Like, I don't know. I don't understand why he didn't put me to sleep. He said I was one of his strongest patients. I could take it. So back then, I didn't know. I was young. I was 21. I didn't know any better. I spent the first couple of days away from my baby because he was in the hospital for 2 weeks. He was in the NICU. So yeah, I do think we do need more advocates we do need more doulas, more Black women voicing their opinions. We need more knowledge in the Black community as well when it comes to birth and maternal fetal, because I didn't know anything. I didn't know the benefits of breastfeeding. I didn't know any of that. So I missed out on a lot of things with my first child that my second child is getting, that the third child will get. And it does make you feel like, well, had I known I was supposed to be put to sleep, maybe I wouldn't have been so sick the entire time. I would have been able to mother him more in those first few days. So I do understand.
These are really powerful stories, everyone. Thank you so much. Al-Nisa, do you mind jumping in?
Yeah, so I have like this like funny phrase or opinion that like moms make the world go round, right? Mothers are the heart of everything that we do, whether it's in our community, institutions, healthcare, politics, everything. We give birth to leaders and artists and musicians, and we have to protect that at all costs, right? And I've had the opportunity to focus on a lot of procedures and legislations that impact maternal, infant, and child health outcomes. And we have a lot of work to do. If it wasn't for, platforms and people, organizations like First Lady Tammy Murphy, Nurture New Jersey, Nurse Family Partnership, the doula organizations, a lot of people would have been experiencing a lot more, horrible experiences, right? A lot of the barriers, I'm passionate because I see the barriers every single day that, are standing in the way between moms and having successful pregnancies, successful deliveries, successful breastfeeding experiences, bonding with their children. And, we've all talked about it here today, whether it's education, advocacy, just not knowing, not having, the resources, whether it's language, anything. These barriers are too persistent. And a lot of our different organizations and institutions and our lives, whether it's just in our society. For me personally, with my first daughter, I felt as though, doctors assume a lot about certain target groups of people. And it's easy to be dismissive of those concerns. It's easy to believe that what's best and what's right because of your position. And that can't continue to happen. We need more people to be the doulas, to be the voice, to share their stories. And without, organizations like Southern Jersey Family Medical Centers, Life After Two Losses, the doula organizations, we lose a lot of mothers. New Jersey has actually improved their maternal mortality standing across the state and within the country, but we still have a lot of work to do. And it's just my hope. I'm passionate about it because it's my hope that everyone can have great experiences like I've been, able to have. I hope that more people can breastfeed and more people can spend time with their babies, and that would also systematically break down other things that happen later on in life. Like I said, mothers make the world go round. We're the starting point of it. And if we don't take care of mothers from prenatal, postnatal, postpartum, period, then we lose a lot of things along the way. and we don't see it until it's staring us right in our face, right?
Thank you, Elnisa. Luanne, looks like King Kairo's fallen asleep, so.
Yeah, he's snoring, so forgive us. But I just want to say, just hearing some of these other stories is making me so emotional. And I know for me, I've literally equipped myself with everything that I can. I'm a preconception educator. I sit on the MCQC advisory board. I'm 4 months or 16 weeks exactly away from finishing my MPH. I'm doing literally everything in my power to help support and empower women so like these stories can stop. My breastfeeding journey was so hard because my son was in the NICU and I was not well downstairs, so I was trying to go up. It took 5 lactation consultants to help me finally get my son to latch. I've had women reach out to me on Life After 2 Losses saying they're struggling with, breastfeeding. And you know what I've done? I opened a Zoom call. I use my son to show them how to breastfeed because these type of things are so important. And I feel like lived experience and that peer support change a lot of what's happening. I also want to add that although there's some medical professionals who've been dismissive to me, there's also been some medical professionals who've helped advocate for me, as well as who I've been able to sit down with and talk to them about my experience and how things went wrong and how they're going to better, fix things for other women to come. I'm not looking to place the blame. I just want to fix things so that, future babies and other moms don't have to go through the things that I've went through. So I'm open to partnering with other organizations, medical professionals, whoever I can to share my story so that we can continue to help other women and other families to come.
Okay, thank you. Laynel?
Laynel, voy a traducir para usted, ¿ok? ¿Quieres hablar un poco sobre su experiencia con su parto y también qué lo motiva a usted a mejorar la salud materna en el estado?
Mi experiencia con el parto fue muy bien, gracias a Dios. Hubo un excelente trato para conmigo, a pesar de que no dilataba y mi parto estaba ya pasado de tiempo. Todos los doctores, las enfermeras, todo el trato fue excelente, no puedo decir lo contrario. Hasta antes del parto, el seguimiento que tuve con el grupo de centering que me fueron ayudando, enseñando, fue súper excelente. No sé si quieres ir traduciendo por parte o al final.
Puede ser al final.
Al final, ok. ¿Qué me gustaría que sobre la maternidad así en New Jersey? Que siento que pueden haber muchas mamás como yo que somos primerizas, que no tenemos conocimiento y el que existan programas que nos enseñen, eso nos empodera para pues hacer un buen trabajo como mamá, que nadie pues, no hay una universidad, por así decirlo, como uno aprender a ser mamá. Entonces, que hayan programas que sí nos enseñen, nos eduquen a nosotras para hacer pues lo mejor para nuestros hijos.
Gracias. So Laynel said that she thankfully had a great pregnancy experience despite she was having issues, she wasn't dilating, but she said that after her birth, centering pregnancy helped her a lot. And she said that she thinks that, the state really needs programs like centering pregnancy that will empower and educate moms. She said like she's a first-time mom, so she doesn't, she said there's no university that you can go to learn how to be a mom. And so having, these support groups, having programs like centering pregnancy, that would be extremely helpful. And she's really grateful for them.
Thank you, Pietra, for helping us there and helping everyone communicate. So, this work is incredibly personal to each of us. And interestingly, you've all shared your stories. Mine is nothing anywhere near some of the stories you've just shared. So thank God I can say that for myself. But I will tell you, my first pregnancy, I was given, for a whole host of reasons, Pitocin. and I had a dramatic reaction to the Pitocin, and my baby's heart rate went down below 30 beats. And I had to be put on oxygen, and it was about 10 people came into the room. It was incredibly scary. He is fine. He was born fine, and I'm thankful for that. That caused me not to have anything, an epidural or anything, for the next 3 pregnancies. I chose just to do it and not have anything put into my body that was going to be foreign to my body. But I will tell you, the last pregnancy, you know, I'm listening to you all saying how difficult it was to get the attention of your medical teams and how you weren't listened to. By the time our 4th baby came along, we pretty much knew how things were going to go because we'd had, you know, 3 prior pregnancies. And I remember, if any of you know my husband's pretty persuasive. And I remember my saying to Phil, and then his going on and telling the medical team, she's going to have this baby very quickly. I'm telling you, this is where we got last time. The baby's going to be here. And the doctor said, I have a planned C-section delivery. I'm going to go do that. You just tell her to hold on and I'll be back. And guess what happened? The baby came, had the umbilical cord wrapped around his neck. And thank God the senior nurse on the team was so experienced that she was able to deliver that baby for me. So I just will tell you, you know, we all bear these burdens, but and it's very personal work for all of us. And I will tell you, there's no question that my 4 children are my greatest motivating factor in trying to help everyone, because you know, we've got to do this. In any event, I was going to ask you if any of you, for my last question, if any of you would have changed anything in your pregnancy. I think we all know that that's pretty clear, that you would have changed quite a few things if you had had the ability to do so. So instead of asking that, I wonder if you might share anything, you know, as you reflect on your pregnancy, that you would want to tell another mom, if you'd want to tell someone who was expecting, and to give them some advice along the way. Ahjanae, I think maybe start with you.
Yeah, I would actually tell any like expecting mothers or first time mothers. So I had this thing with my family where they didn't really breastfeed, and they didn't tell you the advantages of breastfeeding. So I just naturally used to assume like, okay, I'm going to do formula, which if you need to use formula, it is fine. I understand everybody is not able to breastfeed, but I would just say, don't shy away from breastfeeding. I think it was the best experience out of my pregnancies that I had. I like the closeness it gave me, and my son is out of this world. Like, until this day, he still is just a mama's boy. Like, I can't explain it. I don't know how to explain it, but it was a lot of benefits. He never really got sick. He was healthy all the time. I think he's had a cold maybe twice, but just don't be scared of breastfeeding, because at first I was just like, for what? But now I'll never not breastfeed if I can.
Great advice. Al-Nisa?
So I guess I would just say, speak up. If you don't feel comfortable, if you don't understand something, if you have a question, if something doesn't feel right, speak up. And sometimes you have to do it more than once. Sometimes you have to say it to more than one person. Sometimes your partners are not aware or don't understand what has to be done. Sometimes the nurses aren't listening, the doctors aren't listening, but there's always someone. So if you have to say it multiple times, if you have to scream it, if you have to write it down, people respond to Google reviews now, people respond to anything. Like, if you have something to say, you just have to speak up, because it's not just you that you're fighting for anymore. You're fighting for the life inside of you. You're fighting for the life that you created, the life that you have to raise. So just don't be afraid to speak up. There's literally nothing wrong that can come from it. And if anything, ask them to document. If you say something and they say, no, it's not necessary, or you'll be fine, can you document that? Can you just document that I spoke up because I don't feel right? And it's okay. And you will be okay. Just speak up.
Thank you, Al-Nisa. Luanne, how about you?
Yeah, so I definitely would like to piggyback off that. I share that on Life After Two Losses, that if you ask for something that they're unwilling to do, that it be documented in your chart. I would also say, think of your relationship with your providers as a partnership. We both should have some input on the care. I would also say, do your research, and nobody knows your body or your baby as well as you do. So if you feel that something is not right, speak up and continue to speak up until your concerns are addressed. That's my advice.
Great. Thank you so much. I think we'll go to Charnèa first, and then we'll do Laynel last and have Pietra come back on. Thank you. Oh, you're muted, Charnèa.
Okay, sorry about that. I think for me, like Luanne said, do your research. Like I said, when I started out, becoming a mother, I was young and I didn't know a lot, and I just trusted, the doctors. Not that, there are not amazing medical providers out there, but again, we do know our bodies, we do know our children, and advocating and being educated and reading up on all of this stuff, and networking with other mothers and other people that are, doulas and all of that, just all of that, it can help you be so much more informed, so that you can be educated and informed when you're talking to these providers and saying, I've been through this before, I've researched this, I've researched that. It makes it not easier, but I would say you're just coming from a place where, you kind of have some insight when you're talking to these providers about what your birth plan is, or what previous experiences that you've had, and why, you're suggesting that we do this because the odds are better. So I think for myself, I definitely read everything I could read and was always like kind of ahead of the game, asking questions this time around. I definitely, this was a pregnancy that I wasn't just, kind of like just sitting there like a bump on a log. I was actually a participant in this, and I was part of the team. I was not going to have this child and not speak up for myself and not try to utilize every resource that I could. So I think every woman should do that and just research and be prepared.
Agreed. Okay, so Laynel, you are next, and Pietra, maybe you want to jump in here?
¿Hay algún consejo que daría a una mamá o una persona que está embarazada?
El consejo que yo le daría es que dentro de todos los miedos que nos surgen en ese momento, cuando pues sabemos que estamos embarazadas, y más en la recta final, que surgen tantos miedos y uno escucha tantos consejos, algunos no muy positivos, otros positivos, pues mi consejo sería descansar en Dios, pensar siempre en positivo, que todo va a estar bien, no exigirnos tanto, que a veces como mujeres nos exigimos mucho, 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 y tratar de dar lo mejor de nosotras mismas durante el embarazo, y también pues obviamente cuando nace nuestro bebé.
Gracias. So she said that, during pregnancy, especially towards the end, we tend to get, nervous. You're hearing a lot of advice from different people that's, good, bad. But she said that the most important thing is, as women, we tend to be, hard on ourselves and demand too much. And so she said that we need to be patient with ourselves, and be kind to ourselves, essentially, and don't demand so much from ourselves, and just really focus on the pregnancy and what we're feeling, and just focus on being positive.
Thank you, Pietra. So thank you all so much. Your advice is so sound, and I thank you for sharing your stories, your time, and for letting us get a glimpse of these adorable little ones who have been so patient. Micah West, Luca, King Cairo, you are all welcome to stay, but if you need to jump off, we completely understand. I'm really grateful to you all. And Al-Nisa, thanks for coming in here from work. As I said at the opening of our panel, it is the mothers' voices we must be elevating and amplifying if we hope to keep our momentum going and truly, truly transform New Jersey's maternal health landscape. I am incredibly proud of the steps we've taken thus far, but at the same time, we all know that the urgency of this crisis remains and that its root cause is institutional racism, plain and simple. Black women in New Jersey are 7 times more likely than white women to die due to maternity-related complications, and Black babies are over 3 times more likely than white babies to die before their first birthday. As a mother of 4 incredible children, this terrible knowledge weighs heavily on my heart, especially because I know, despite my challenges, but for the color of my skin, that could have been me. So that kind of personal commitment and motivation is reflected in every Nurture NJ partner. We are not seeking to simply improve our maternal health statistics or data. We are working to make sure that every New Jersey mom and baby gets off to a healthy start and is put on a trajectory toward a full and healthy life. Over the past 4 years, we have taken comprehensive and meticulous approach to understanding the scope of this crisis. We've made significant and often groundbreaking policy decisions, enlisted national experts to help us design our Nurture NJ maternal and infant health strategic plan, and we've begun to implement many of its recommendations. Some of our most significant accomplishments since the start of my husband's administration include establishing the most robust in the nation statewide universal newborn home visitation program, becoming the 2nd state to expand Medicaid coverage to 365 days postpartum, leading the nation as the 3rd state to provide Medicaid reimbursement for doula care, and the list goes on. In January of 2021, we released the Nurture NJ strategic plan, which is the culmination of over a year of innumerable conversations with hundreds of relevant and invested entities, ranging from departments and agencies within the government to health systems, physicians, doulas, community organizations, and most importantly, you moms and your families. Designed to make transformational change in a system that has historically failed our mothers and babies of color, this plan is our blueprint to make New Jersey the safest and most equitable state in the nation to deliver and raise a baby. The goal to reduce our maternal mortality rate by 50% over 5 years and eliminate the racial disparities in birth outcomes requires all sectors, health, education, business, government, academia, and more, to play an integral role. I'm really proud that because of our work to dismantle silos, build trust among our over 1,000 Nurture NJ partners, and amplify the voices of the mothers affected by this crisis, we have been able to hit the ground running. And 1 year from its release, we have already completed or made headway on over half of the more than 70 recommendations outlined in our plan. To date, my husband, Governor Murphy, has signed 39 maternal health related pieces of legislation, from establishing a perinatal episode of care to codifying a woman's right to reproductive autonomy. We have made small and big changes with a major impact. And today, I am thrilled to share that we've continued to make progress on our Maternal and Infant Health Innovation Center, which will be located in our state's capital, Trenton. Last year, we issued a request for information and received responses from over 50 stakeholders across the state and around the nation on what a premier, first of its kind maternal and infant health research and innovation center could look like. The insight we received from those responses serves as an important reminder that the voices of those who will be most impacted by our work are of central importance. The slogan, "Not about us, without us," is the motto we live by in Nurture NJ. And before we break ground in Trenton in the next year, we will begin an extensive community engagement process in the city to listen and learn about the needs of its residents and how the center can best serve each of them. This research center will continue the work of Nurture NJ long after this administration and put New Jersey on the cutting edge of maternal health, helping us to not only solve our maternal health crisis here in the Garden State, but making us a national leader in the field. And I thank everyone here today for joining us in this mission. Together, we are making New Jersey the safest and most equitable place in the nation to deliver and raise a baby. We have so many incredible resources that you've all brought to the table here today, and we are going to make sure that we give a shout out to all of the organizations and make sure everyone understands how to track down any information you might like about each of those organizations, and as we'll post that online. So I thank each of you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your stories, for joining us today. And I look forward to seeing all those little babies when they are starting kindergarten and beyond down the road. So God bless you all, and take care.